Welcome to this session on agrarian distress in India. As you all know that agriculture plays a significant role in the development of India. It is the main source of living for more than half of the employing class of the country. It has also made a commendable progress in the last few decades, particularly after the Green Revolution, and because of that our food production has reached to a record level. Over the years, we have moved from being a net importer of food grains to exporter of variety of food items. We are now self-sufficient country in case of most of the food products. However, even at the height of farm output, our agriculture sector is in distress, and despite the impressive rise in agriculture production, our farmers are suffering from low income and poverty. If we look at the last few years media reports, they have been filled with the images of farmers protest by way of dumping vegetables by the roadsides or in open. Similarly, thousands of farmers are committing suicide every year for various reasons, and numerous reports have identified indebtedness as the predominant single factor for farmer suicides. The incidents of these extreme measures taken by farmers have been reported from various parts of the country. That includes major states like Maharashtra, Karnataka, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh and Punjab. At times, farmers also suffer heavy loss due to unseasonal rain and hailstorms. It tells us how precarious is the situation for the farmers and how fragile is the agrarian economy in India. Again, as per the 59th round of NSSO survey, 40% of the farmers are ready to give up farming in favor of a job. There was a time when Indian economy was largely dependent on agriculture, but now agriculture accounts for only 12% of national GDP. On the other hand, 55% of the people in rural areas are directly dependent on this sector as a major source of livelihood. In fact, the overall economy is growing, but the agriculture component of the GDP has been falling consistently. The reason is obvious. Over the past few decades, the manufacturing and service sectors have increasingly contributed to the growth of the economy, while the agriculture sector's contribution has decreased continuously. Therefore, the rural sector of Indian economy is in crisis, and a big rural-urban divide has been created in the last few decades. If we compare rural areas with urban areas, there is a glaring disparity in income distribution, consumption and quality of life between rural and urban people. And because of that, a large number of people have moved out from agriculture based activity and now are engaged either in rural non-farm sectors or absorbed in urban casual wage market. Given the complexity of the problem, several factors can be attributed to the growing agrarian crisis in India. First, the overall profitability in farming is declining. In the last few years, productivity has grown at a slower rate as compared to the steep increase in input cost of materials, which has led to a decline in crop income over the years. Second, farming has always been a risky enterprise in India. Our agriculture is heavily dependent on monsoon, and monsoon itself is very erratic and unpredictable. At the same time, our present irrigation system is faulty. The extensive use of groundwater is shrinking down our water resources, which is ultimately reducing the small farmers' prospects of crop production. A recent 78th round of NSS survey, which was conducted in 2014, indicates that consumption expenditure of two-thirds farmers, particularly of marginal and small farmers, was higher than the net income received by these farmers. Similarly, our crop production is always at risk because of pests and diseases. Recently, we have seen that flock of locusts have invaded the northern India this year. Thanks God, it has done very less damages to the crops. Third, the declining size of operational holdings also hindering the prospects of agriculture production. The average farm size has declined from 2.28 hectares in 1971 to 1.1 hectares in 2018. The fragmented and scattered holdings do not allow efficient utilization of farm resources and technology adoption by the farmers. Fourth, the rural youth is detaching themselves from agriculture activities. According to the 59th survey of National Sample Survey, about 40% of farmers wanted to abandon agriculture mainly because it has become a highly unviable occupation. Fifth is the indebtedness of farmer households. At all India level, almost half of the farmer households were indebted. It is because there is a lack of easy credit to agriculture, especially for the marginal and small farmers. They are dependent on money lenders. Our supply chain for agriculture product is also very fragmented. There is a large gap in shortage and cold chain facilities in India. Similarly, our agriculture markets have limited connectivity and they lack proper marketing infrastructure. Another factor is the poor policy and planning in agriculture sector. In the past, government strategy primarily focused on raising agriculture output and improving food security rather than recognizing the need to raise the farmers' income. Absence of crop insurance is also fueling farm distress in India. When the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana was launched in June 2016, the idea was fairly simple that insurer farmer will be compensated appropriately for their yield loss. But in reality, farmers have received a raw deal from insurance companies under the government's crop insurance scheme. As only few farmers get compensation on time, naturally farmers are losing interest in this scheme. MSPs and loan waivers scheme has helped to only a small section of farmers. Both schemes have helped only 20 to 30% of Indian farmers. Now question is that what is the impact of agriculture distress in India? Basically, the above factors have resulted in low income for farmers, which are evident from the incidence of poverty among farm households. The low and high fluctuating farm income is causing a detrimental impact on farming and farm investments, and is also forcing more and more cultivators, particularly younger age groups, to leave farming. Due to the farm distress, we are witnessing a large number of farmer suicides in the last few decades. Basically, this chronic farm distress can cause an adverse effect on the future of our food security and the state of agriculture in the country. And finally, it will affect the health and nutritional condition of common masses. As far as solutions to agriculture distress is concerned, investing in allied sectors will be one of the better options, as many of the small farmers cannot leave agriculture because of lack of opportunities in the non-farm sector. Hence, allied sectors like horticulture, food processing, poultry, etc. needs to be pushed for the other source of income. There is a need to make a shift from rice to wheat centric policies to millet, pulses, fruits, vegetables, livestock and fish farming. The creation of a competitive, stable and unified national market is needed for farmers to get better prices. Consolidation of land holding is also important to raise farmers' incomes. Farmers can voluntarily come together and pool land to gain the benefits of the size. Through consolidation, farmers can reap the economies of scale both in input procurement and output marketing. Farmers should also look for agriculture diversification in favor of high value commodities to get better returns, but for that we have to develop robust value chains by linking production and marketing centers. The goal set by Government of India to doubling the farm's income by 2022-23 is central to promote farmers' welfare, reduce agrarian distress and bring income parity between the farmers and those working in non-agriculture professions. In recent years, the central government has taken various measures like Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, electronic national agriculture markets, soil health card, neem coated urea, etc. These schemes must reach to the every farmers of the country. Agriculture must be a major component of priority sector lending, and the target for bank lending to agriculture must be revised upwards every year. Some states have introduced farm support schemes such as Raitu Bandhu scheme of Telangana and the Krushak Assistance for Livelihood and Income Augmentation scheme of Odisha. To some extent, these schemes are helpful for farmers, but income support schemes can only be a partial solution to the farmers. We have to look for sustainable solutions. For better income of farmers, our policy makers have to think beyond farm production. There is a need to develop a robust value chain in the agriculture sector, comprising not only farming but also on wholesaling, warehousing, logistic, processing and retailing. That's all for today. Thank you very much.